I've made 2 bold transfers for blank game week 12 and I'm about to show you my locked in team. We'll start by building from the back. It was a coin toss between the goalkeepers this game week. Both teams have practically got the same clean sheet odds. I understand that Fulham and Leicester both have poor defences, but the decision maker for me this game week was the fact that I'd rather play the Villa attack than the Leeds one. Another small thing to consider is that Leicester's best player Maddison is sidelined. It'll probably give Leeds less to think about at the back, and they might be on the back foot less than usual. Moving on to the back line, I've got Dunk in a nice easy fixture against Forest at home. He's a player that I transferred in last game week, unfortunately he got a blank. I'm hopeful this game week though. Next up is Trippier against Everton at home, and being an attacking defender he's got 3 decent channels to points, a high clean sheet point potential, and the chance of scoring or assisting that's pretty high for a defender. And the last defender that definitely starts for me is Anderson. I transferred him in last game week, he got a return for me. I fancy him again this game week against Wolves at home. I've also got Nico Williams who will be shifted onto the first bench slot. He's the only insurance that I've got for the outfield players this game week. You'll see later on after my transfers that I'll be fielding a 3-4-3 formation. One player that I had to sell last night before the price drop was Maddison. It's such a shame because he had an easy fixture against Leeds at home. But like I mentioned earlier, he can't feature in that match because he's suspended. The player that I was originally going to upgrade this game week was Bowen against Liverpool. It's not the best of fixtures facing Liverpool at Anfield, but the priority is to field 11 playing players in this blank game week, and hopefully my patience is rewarded when he faces Bournemouth at home next game week. Zaha stays in my team right up until the World Cup because he's got favourable fixtures, and hopefully he starts to capitalise on them. My final midfielder is Bailey against Fulham away. That's an easy fixture and I really hope he plays this game week. This video is being recorded before the press conferences. If he's not available, then it looks like Nico will have to step in. If he's not available, then I'm going to have to play with 10 men. Up front is Kane, who I captained over Haaland last game week. He's a captaincy candidate for game week 12 as well against United away. And the final player before we move on to the transfer section is Mitrovic against Villa at home. Marco Silva made it sound like in his press conference that Mitrovic wouldn't be available, and he played 90 minutes and went on to score a goal as well. I took the risk and started him because there was a big upside, and luckily enough it paid off. As you can see by the bench, initially I've got 2 City players and an Arsenal player that blank in game week 12, and Maddison that's suspended, which leaves me with 10 players on the pitch. Moving on to the transfer section. I really wanted to bring Mo Salah in because he ranks so high in my captaincy matrix, and you can see on the screen why with his fixtures. Even with his 4th most difficult fixture out of 5, he competes for the captain's armband against Kane. Obviously this came at a cost. I had to sell Haaland or Kane, and Haaland's got the blank in game week 12. The plan is to shift Kane back onto Haaland before his fixture against Fulham at home, and if you look at the next 3 game weeks, Haaland plays 2 matches and Kane plays 3. I might even make the transfer 1 game week earlier before Haaland plays Leicester away, but Kane does play Bournemouth, so I'm going to keep an eye on that one. I highly doubt that I'd want to captain him in game week 13 against Brighton when Salah plays the worst defence in the league. Another benefit is that I can field a strong team in a blank game week, and I don't have to have a £12 million player sat on the bench. Of course it was Maddison who had to be directly transferred to Salah because he's a midfielder, but it left me with 9.1 mil for a forward. Originally I considered Calvert-Lewin. That's because Everton rank at the top of my attack fixture difficulty ratings, but he's just returned from injury. Another player that I did consider was Wilson, but I'm not too keen on Newcastle's fixtures. So with Luis Diaz being injured, it sounds like Jota's injured as well. I took a punt on Darwin Núñez. I know there's a risk over his expected minutes, but to be fair, with those attacking injuries, he should get more minutes. He might share them with Firmino, but there's a big upside there and I'm chasing it. It's worth noting that this is being recorded before Klopp's press conference. I understand he's a risk due to his expected minutes, but if you look at those fixtures, I believe he's got the highest ceiling of all the forwards under 9.1 mil. All of FPL Review, Fantasy Football Fix and Fantasy Football Scout agree on the points projections as well. Thanks for watching, hit that like button if you found this video informative. Also make sure you check out my best captain video if you haven't already, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these videos.